Now, staff shortages and potential teachers' strikes in England will be among the issues being discussed at the National Education Union conference this week.
An overwhelming majority of the largest teaching union rejected a proposed pay increase of 2.8% last week, which could see them balloted on strike action this summer. Our education editor, Bronwyn Jeffries, has this report.
When we look at air and gases that are less dense than air will float.
Making sense of science to teenagers. Rob Owens has taught for more than 20 years.
Which cube has got the highest mass?
Teachers argued their pay hasn't kept up with the cost of living, nor the demands of the job.
I think when you look at it, there's an increasing demands on teachers now, more so than there ever has been. And that is beyond planning and marking. And what it comes down to is the fact that there's now increasing demands on schools to support the most vulnerable students and families.
In England, schools are planning budgets for next year. Teachers' pay is looked at by an independent body, but it's ministers who will make the final offer.
So the Department for Education has put forward a pay proposal of 2.8% for next year for teachers. And that seems to be both too much and too little. So too much for schools and how much their budgets are increasing to be able to cover that without making cuts elsewhere, but also too little to keep up with teacher pay competitiveness with the wider labour market.
The National Education Union carried out an online poll. 94% of those taking part rejected the 2.8% pay offer. 83% were willing to strike over pay. The turnout was 47%, and that matters because any formal strike ballot carried out by post needs at least half the members to vote.
There is a recruitment crisis in England's secondary schools. Not enough people are training as teachers and too many are leaving. But all the evidence is that pay is only one part of the solution.
So we did offer staff, and continue to do that, the flexibility in the morning to start a little later.
So some head teachers are offering more flexible working.
Just to make life a little easier. If you were to ask me why would somebody be a teacher, I'd tell you, what other job can you say you make a massive difference to the world that you live in? There's that element to it, but we have to be realistic. We have to attract a new generation who can be offered flexible working in other sectors. They can be offered well-paid positions while they're doing that.
OK, so moving on.
Amidst the real challenge of recruiting enough teachers, a standoff between unions and the government in England has got closer.
Working very hard, class, well done.
The Education Secretary said any step towards strikes was indefensible. Bronwyn Jeffries, BBC News.